Okay, so that's the first part of assessment 1. The second part, which is the written part, is you will produce a 1,500 word letter. And the letter is simply putting into greater context and greater detail a lot of the points that you've summarised within your leaflet. And again, what I've done is and I'll talk about it on the next couple of slides, is I've broken down the type of evidence that I will be looking for and the marking criteria that you're going to be assessed against. So there's no excuse. The marking criteria clearly distinguishes what you need to focus on. And the next couple of slides are telling you the information that you need to include in your letter. Basically, the letter is being written to the head teacher, telling them why they should employ your company. But there's some evidence, there's some references to support some of the points that you're making. So it's basically a supporting letter. Okay, so in terms of what you need to include within your letter, I'll go through the marking criteria in a minute, but you get marks for the structure. You get marks for your grammar, you get marks for your spelling. So I think there's up to 10 marks for that. So I would expect to see your letter structured in a particular way. That there's paragraphs, it's structured, that each paragraph has got a key theme. That key theme is introduced, and then through the paragraph, that key theme is developed further. So maybe when I'm marking some of your letters, I might say, right, there needs to be an introductory theme, and then you need to develop that theme through the paragraph. There needs to be an address. Okay, so most of you should be familiar with setting out a letter. The top right-hand corner of the letter will be the name of yourself, your company, contact details, and then underneath that on the left-hand side, towards the far end of the page, towards the left-hand side of the page, there will be the fictional name of the head teacher, the school, and their contact details. So you need to set out your letter correctly. I would expect to see an introductory paragraph with some context which highlights why schools have been discouraged from using sports coaches in the past. So if we go back a few weeks, I talked about coaches have not had a good reputation working in schools. Why? Because they're not qualified, they don't understand the national curriculum. Some companies have exploited it because it's about making money. So you need to include that evidence and who has said that, so that's where your references come in, to say why schools have been discouraged from using sports coaches to support, complement, supplement their PE lessons in the past. You might also talk about why coaches are then being encouraged to go into schools. So again, we talked about it in previous weeks. Schools now, because of the government directive and the primary school sport offer, legacy from the 2012 Olympics, we want more kids participating in sport. And we've recognised that in primary schools there are no PE specialists, there are only a generalist primary teacher. So the lack of qualified teachers, the lack of expertise, the lack of direction, and the government support is the reason why there's a big demand for sports coaches going into primary schools to support, deliver, assist, supplement the PE lessons. So the first couple of paragraphs, I would expect to see that. I would then expect something around a paragraph on why the school should be employing your company or why the school should be employing your club. So what is it about your coaches that would make the school say, yes, we would like to employ you to come into our school? So again, think of some of that evidence you put on your leaflet. You're appropriately qualified. You've got an NGB award. You've got an AFP qualification. You've got a safeguarding qualification. You've got your DBS. From there, you're then going to talk about the national curriculum? How are your coaches going to ensure they are appropriately qualified, knowledgeable and understanding to support the delivery of the national curriculum for PE? So you need to highlight that your your coaches understand the PE curriculum. They know what to deliver at Key Stage 1. They know what to deliver at Key Stage 2. And how are they going to deliver that? What teaching methods are they going to do to get these key messages across? What are they going to focus on? So Key Stage 1, fundamental movement skills. Key Stage 2, they're going to develop and progress fundamental movement skills, but possibly into sports skills. And they're going to do that not just in football, but across a broad range of activities. You might put in there, well, why are they going to develop those skills? Because the more fundamental movement skills kids have got, the more they can fully engage in physical activity and lifelong participation. You then will look to progress on to talk about what I don't want to see too much of is you talking about developing the athlete or the football player. This is about developing participants. And remember what we talked about, child-centered, participant-centered. So your role as a coach is to go into the school and develop the whole person. And you're going to do that by developing certain life skills in young children. So you're going to improve them psychologically, you'll improve them physically, socially, emotionally. So there needs to be some sort of reference there to, right, how are your coaches not only going to develop kids in terms of their participation in PE, but those other skills that they can develop outside of the PE curriculum. And you're going to all develop this through high quality PE. So what does high quality PE look like? High quality PE is where kids are committed, they're motivated, they've got good attitudes. So again, I'd expect you to be talking about all these key qualities that your coaches are going to try and demonstrate and commit to with their teaching. And then you're going to finish it off with a conclusion, some concluding paragraph that says, by doing this, this and this is what our coaches can contribute to the physical education within your school. And then obviously at the end, you will have a reference list that includes, in alphabetical order, all of the key references that you have used within your text. So if you follow that structure, you're not going to go far wrong. But what I do expect is that there's a context at the start, that you introduce what is the letter about, what are the key themes you're talking about. I would expect each paragraph to have a key theme that introduces the key theme in the first couple of sentences and then goes on to be a bit more analytical about those key themes within the paragraph and provide some evidence from the books and the journals that supports what you say. I would also expect you to try and link your paragraphs together so that your letter flows much better.